Hello, this is Tom Clancy's Wildlands. This is Ubisoft's latest party trick to the gaming industry. And I say that because Ubisoft are very creative in the way they advertise their games, and with this game being in an open beta this weekend, or last weekend, I wanted to try find out how this game is different from what they have been advertising it, because I want you guys to be aware, and I want to be aware myself. It might be a really good game to buy, and the odds are the way they are advertising it is completely different. For example, they showed footage of Rainbow Six Siege with incredible destruction and atmosphere, but really the real thing today has far less. They advertised The Division as a survival shoot-'em-up type of game, similar to DayZ at the time, but really it is a loot-'em-up type of shooter game, similar to Diablo or something like that, where loot is king. And they've advertised For Honor as a big spectacle fighter, similar to Dynasty Warriors, where you can take out heaps of little mobs and lots of other players easily. But really, it's a fighter game, a 1 versus 1 fighter game with lots of combos and a lot of depth into it. I don't hate it for that. It is an industry and they know how to play that game. But what makes Wildlands special? I think that so far they have been advertising it as a cooperative 3D open world type of game, similar to a Grand Theft Auto, but like Grand Theft Auto Combined or something, but in a huge open world. But really, this game is a Tom Clancy game, and that might not mean much because Tom Clancy's Division and Rainbow Six Siege, those I wouldn't really call proper Tom Clancy games. The last Tom Clancy game was Ghost Recon, and Tom Clancy games are known to be hard, tactical, slow and methodical. They're the type of games where you approach a building carefully and then you take your time infiltrating it. You plan your routes, you plan things out. Now this might not be as tactical or as slow as Ghost Recon, which was a single player game, or maybe even Rainbow Six Vegas, but it's definitely there far more than The Division and Rainbow Six were. So that's what I think this game is. This game is a strategy game with a focus on infiltration, stealth, and a variety of different ways to attack. You can use your NPC controlled players in single player, but otherwise you can just go online, invite a friend, and then it's just you and him or her traveling around in the Bolivian jungle trying to be stealthy. The story of the game is that there is a drug cartel which is almost in control of Bolivia.
End of the day, this is a revenge mission. We need to focus and get this done quick before we get stuck between local politics and a firestorm of cartel bullets.
There is a military force, like a police force, which we call the Unidad. There are rebel forces, which are your allies. And the enemy is a drug cartel. They are orange dots, usually. So there's these 4 factions, including your own little 4-man team, just fighting it out over Bolivia. But I found this screen here very interesting because why would they put all these 4 characters or 4 factions all on the same screen? This is not the full version of the game, so they might unlock more features when the game does finally come out. Of course they will unlock more features, but I mean more core mechanics. And I think this game could be a lot about a huge territory grab. Something like how the gang system worked in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where the cartel, the military force, the rebels, and yourself, with the rebels of course, have to fight for Bolivia, basically. You have to fight for this game world and to control it. I mean, this is just a huge theory by me, but it seems like that would make a lot of sense in this type of game because, honestly, there's not really much to do in this game. You can go from point to point and raid these areas, but really it's just rinse and repeat over and over and over again. When I loaded up Wildlands, I was surprised at the customization of the character. You can see right here, I could customize my character a lot. I could give him tattoos, scars, sunnies, a hat, a balaclava, different vests, shirts, pants. There was a lot of detail there which I was surprised because from all the footage I've seen of this game, customization of the character isn't really that important because the view is kind of far out. I guess it's important for yourself what your own character looks like in this because you're always looking at his ass or her ass. But I don't really find it important what other people look like in this. You can look like you have a ghillie suit on, but it doesn't really help you blend in more. It helps you visually, but it doesn't change the AI's behavior towards you. It's all fluff. So now that I've talked about the gameplay, I'll put that out of the way because I want to talk about the world of Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands because that is what I do. How they made a believable open world game with its own logic. The game is set in Bolivia, which is between Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Paraguay, Peru, almost Central and South America. And Bolivia is known for its mountains, so this is view distance to the game. I found it pretty well optimized, but as soon as I got into a car, I found that the frame rate kind of dropped. I played the game mostly at a 60 frames per second, but whenever I did drive, I noticed the drop. And that makes a lot of sense because you are always on a hill in this game and you always have a huge view distance. So I think this game will surprise some people who buy it, mostly people who buy it which don't have a very powerful computer I wouldn't say my computer is very powerful, but it's probably slightly above average. A GTX 970, the CPU is a i7 4790. I don't know if that's good. I bought it like a year ago, I guess, and I haven't really found any problems with it. When I play a game, the default settings are usually set to high automatically, which I love. But I could feel the struggle in this game. And the people who like this type of gameplay, I think, would be people who like Tom Clancy games, as I said, and rally games, because in this game there is a huge distance between each notable point of interest. So you are usually running or driving or flying. I wasn't too sure about the driving mechanics because Ubisoft aren't really known for their driving games. I guess they make Watch Dogs, but everyone knows that driving in Watch Dogs is terrible. Maybe the worst driving in an open world game there is. And the flying felt too easy, flying a heli and a plane. If you did fly into the wrong area, or at least a high leveled area, they would shoot missiles at you and they were easy to dodge. But that kind of limited my exploration down onto the ground, at least for most of the time. It was a lot safer down there, I found. So although you can have your squad on a helicopter and just have them assault a base, and it's far easier to fly over all these mountains, you're encouraged to stick to the ground. But the freedom is there. I found Bolivia to have a range of wildlife, which was great. I found cows, which I could not sneak up and scare. Why don't they do that in the game? I just want to scare one, then they just suddenly go solid and they fall on their back. I love that. That happens in real life. It's called cow tipping. I found some llamas, or alpacas. What do they do in real life? Seriously. They tend to go around this world in packs. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but there are usually a huge amount of them. And I also found some flamingos on a lake, but notably this lake I could not swim in because it was knee height almost the whole way. I could drive through it. So it seems like they don't want you to swim, although there are boats and rivers in this game. And this place is a jungle, which is great, maybe the best jungle I've seen in a game. There is a huge amount of foliage, some great variety in the jungle. There's bushes, trees, just green crap everywhere, and I love that about this game. Not good for a computer CPU, and I wouldn't call it a great jungle, but probably the best jungle I've seen in a game, so maybe I'm just an arse and I should really call it great. It doesn't feel wild though. There's not a lot of wildlife in these jungles. Like I said, with the alpacas, the flamingos, and the cows, they are all out in the open. I didn't find anything like snakes, any little wallabies running around. I'm in Australia, so I guess that's natural. What's in rainforest? I don't know. Snakes, spiders, monkeys. Yeah, these jungles felt kind of lifeless and dead. There are birds in the game, quite a lot of birds, and that really helps with the atmosphere, especially the view distance. You always usually see a bird somewhere just flying around, filling up the sky, filling it with life, which I love, of course. But when you're inside the jungle, which is what Bolivia is supposed to be based on, jungles and mountains, it feels dead. And it feels too safe. So this was just a quick video to explain what this game is, because I don't want anybody to be fooled by Ubisoft. I want people to know what they are getting themselves into. And the way Ubisoft like to advertise their games, people really need to play their games before pre-ordering it, especially if it's an Ubisoft game. I did record a bunch of multiplayer footage with Warbane, but the audio bloody didn't work for some reason. Windows, Avira, and Adobe just all wanted to update and they just kept screwing things up. The frame rate was weird as well in multiplayer. I wouldn't call that a game issue, that's mainly my computer. My computer likes to, I don't know, likes to mess with me sometimes. Whenever I try to play multiplayer and try to record it, I don't know, it's bloody annoying. Not so great single player, far more interesting multiplayer, but not my type of game. I won't be buying it. What I did find really good in this game though, is that it is set in Bolivia. It is based off of that, so there are dirt roads, bitumen roads, there's a variety of different vehicles. There's little details spread throughout the maps, at least in this open beta area. So there were things placed alongside the road or visible from the roads, but you can still venture off those roads, get out of your car, walk around, or just drive off the road if you want. Go through the jungle, find a hiking trail and just follow that for a while. Look at the great view distances. I found that pretty relaxing and fun. And with a theme as simple as the Bolivian jungle with cartel, drugs, gangs and things, that set in a huge open world like this gives you a great opportunity to go through the hiking trails, explore Bolivia, find what the people are doing, go through the towns, see what the towns are like, drive on the roads, fly up in the air, look around, play with the wildlife. I found that a lot of fun because Bolivia isn't really represented very often in games. So thanks for watching, subscribe, comment and all that if you want to see more videos like this of open beta games which can hopefully save you money and time, and I'll see you around.